The M3 Pro MacBook Pro, which sits in the middle of the lineup, risks being overshadowed by Apple's marketing efforts for the new 14-inch Pro and the powerful 16-inch M3 Max MacBook Pros. In the past, picking out a MacBook was easy. Get the 13-inch Pro or shell out more cash for a high-end business-grade model. However, picking out the perfect MacBook has been more complicated, with the smaller Pro discontinued. Price and configurations: a 512GB solid-state drive, SSD, 18GB of unified memory, RAM, and an M3 Pro chipset are the standard features of the $1,999 base model, Model 3 Pro MacBook Pro. A $200 upgrade to the CPU and GPU cores, $400 for double the RAM to 36GB, and $200 more for storage expansion to 1TB are all possible upgrades. When you could get the M3 Max, which has decent specs and costs about the same. With 4TB of storage for over $4,000, it seems like a waste. Design. It is common knowledge that Apple has a habit of repeating redesigns for several years. Although the Touch Bar Macs were negatively affected by this method, the 14-inch Pro shell could reap its benefits. This product's sleek and powerful appearance is maintained by the fact that it is constructed with 100% recycled aluminum and contains 32% recycled content. The squared-off chassis radiates a sense of richness and solidity, especially in the new space black coloring, although it is more of a darker space gray. The device still exhibits markings with use, which is typical with previous Apple systems, even though Apple claims to have an anti-fingerprint seal integrated into it. It is important to note that the measurements have remained the same from the prior year. Display and audio. The gorgeous mini LED Liquid Retina XDR display is carried over from the cheaper model to the 14-inch MacBook Pro. Its brightness and color accuracy are remarkable, especially considering it is not an OLED. Even if there are tiny variations in production, they aren't noticeable. Its display has an average brightness of 559.8 nits, a Delta E color accuracy of 0.29, and it covers 111.60% of the sRGB color gamut. With a maximum brightness of 1,588 nits, it provides backlighting on par with Indiana Jones and HDR content. It is recommended to use Vivid Mode to obtain this level of screen brightness. The sound quality of the MacBook Pro is unmatched by any other laptop thanks to its 6-speaker configuration, which has not changed. The bass from the force-canceling woofers fills the room and harmonizes with the mids and highs without distorting either. Ports. A number of ports are common to the 14-inch MacBook Pro, including 3 Thunderbolt 4 USB-C connections, HDMI 2.1, an SD card slot, a 3.5mm audio input, and a MagSafe charging port. There is a significant distinction between the M3 Pro and the M3 Max regarding connectivity. The Pro can support 2 external monitors, while the Max can handle 4, and it still manages to produce an astounding 8K 60Hz for a single monitor. Even though a USB-A port could be useful, it is highly doubtful that Apple will include one. This is because the current technological environment favors newer connectors and gradually eliminates older ports. Performance. The machine's noteworthy components include a 512GB SSD, 18GB of RAM, and an M3 Pro chip with 11 CPU and 14 GPU cores. Some improvements include a media engine that can decode AV1 signals, a 3nm technology that houses 37 billion transistors, and a neural engine with 16 cores. Specifically, when comparing performance, the M3 is noticeably faster than the M2 and M2 Max by a margin of 20% and 47%, respectively, according to Geekbench scores. Still, when compared to the regular M3, the M2 Pro MacBook Pro does well. The M3's SSD speeds are slightly faster than the M2, although for most users, it may not be a big deal. It is worth mentioning that when put to use, the M3 Pro's GPU and media engine surpass those of the M3 and M2 Pro. With discounts on retiring M2 Pro models and a smaller 34-second disparity, spending an additional $400 for a few seconds of performance should be carefully considered, even though the M3 Pro is the faster mid-range MacBook Pro. Graphics and gaming. While the M3 Pro's new 14-core GPU has several improvements over the M3 model, for example, hardware-accelerated ray tracing and dynamic caching, it is still not as powerful as the A17 Pro found in the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. While it's faster than the M3, it's still far slower than the M3 Max. Although the game porting toolkit will enhance gaming, the M3 Pro's marginal performance over the M3 may not be worth the additional cost, particularly when contrasted with the M2 Pro's razor-thin performance gap. Battery life and heat. With its superior thermal management and nearly an hour longer battery life than its predecessor, the M2 Pro, the M3 Pro MacBook Pro, is powered by Apple Silicon. The M3 Pro is the second longest-lasting MacBook Pro of its generation, thanks to its emphasis on efficiency cores rather than performance cores. The basic M3 model is the longest-lasting of its kind. Additionally, it maintains temperatures well below the 95-degree mark, which is considered uncomfortable for laptop use, thanks to its outstanding thermal efficiency, which does not degrade even after rigorous laboratory testing. Keyboard, touchpad, and webcam. The touchpad, camera, and dependable keyboard are some of the MacBook Pro's most iconic features. The sensitive haptic force of the touchpad enhances every interaction, and the comfy chiclet keyboard is the perfect complement. If you're familiar with macOS Sonoma, you can use its shortcuts to navigate easily. Thanks to its high-tech image processor and neural engine, the 1080 pixels FaceTime webcam provides crisp images with well-balanced colors. Despite Apple's claims to the contrary, the M2 Pro is still one of the best built-in laptop webcams because of the minor difference. Thanks for watching. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel to never miss out on any of our videos.